Well, hi everyone. This is Sony Artisan and Stingray Ambassador Don Smith. And today I would like to talk to you about color cloning, or we can call it color painting. And what exactly is color cloning or color painting? Well, if you are a landscape photographer, it's something you really need to learn. And if this is the first time you're hearing about it, I'm going to show you two ways on how to go about doing this. This is something I've learned about a year or so ago and have not really used a whole lot. And then I was out doing a walk a couple days ago and I came across this scene uh, in Morro Bay, California, where I live. And this is the famous Morro Rock in the background, a volcanic plug that is about 575 feet high. It's millions and millions of years old. And this is sand dunes that fronts the Pacific Ocean. And I was wandering through these sand dunes when these five beautiful sea figs caught my eye. People refer to these as sea daisies, but people in the know tell me these are actually a common name of sea figs. Well, I got down really low and kind of filled up my frame with a wide angle lens. And when I got back to the computer, I realized I had one, two, three flowers over here that were also sea figs, but they were just of lighter color. So the question and the quest for me became, how could I take some of this color and clone it into here without drawing outside the lines, if you know what I mean? And I'll show you how we control that in a minute. And can it be done? And the answer is yes, but you're going to need a little help. In my regards, it's the TK8 panel, and especially the TK8 CX panel. There is a combo panel if you're used to using that. Same thing, just different shapes, but all the same buttons. So what we need to do is, first of all, come in here and click on the TK button that opens up all these actions that by default Tony Kuiper gives you when you purchase this panel from him. And he actually breaks it up into a color section, which would make sense because we're talking about color. So the two I'm going to show you today are add color and color clone. And maybe in other videos we'll go through some of these others. I use these all quite a bit. This is just such a powerful tool. I highly recommend, if you're serious about your landscape photography and processing, that you get Tony's panel. So let's start out with the add color. And I'm just going to simply click on it. And when I do, the color picker comes up. And what that means, it's wanting me to select a color that I want to clone from. So I'm going to come way down here into these purples, and it selects there. I may even move that up into there. And I'm going to click OK. And you can see that it puts it on its own layer with a black hide all mask. So nothing's really happening. In fact, if I turn that mask off, you'll see that something is really happening in the background. It's just hidden by the black mask. Okay, if you're new to masking, black hides, white reveals. So the second step, this is a two-step process. I really, before I get into the second step, I could come in here and start painting, but what happens is I spill outside those flowers, and that's not good. So we need to control those flowers, and the way we do it is with a mask, and these are your masking tools right up here. So because we're dealing with color, I'm going to grab a color mask, and I'm going to sample just a bit of that little pinkish color right there. You can see it pops up here. And I'm going to click OK. And there's the beginnings of my mask. Now I'm going to push this up a little and bring this down a little. Now I'm going to actually, I don't want to wipe the flowers out. The three flowers, this really looks like one now, are here and here. So let me back this off a little bit more. And then I'm going to come in and refine with levels. And I'm going to take the midtones and bring them up. Again, my eye is looking here and here. Okay? I might even bring the whites up a little, not too much because I don't want to blow out the texture. I think we can bring the midtones up actually a little more. But here's the problem. You're saying, Don, you want to work on that flower, that flower, that flower, but you got everything. Everything that's white or a shade of gray is going to be revealed, correct? So we've got to refine this mask. So I can close that down now. So you can see that anything up in this area, these are refining tools. And I think the best way for this is I'm going to use this black mask. And I'm going to hide everything that isn't part of the flowers that I want to work on. And I'm going to start out really with a small brush because I'm just getting up close to the flowers. And don't worry, this won't take forever because we'll be able to wipe out the rest of this pretty quickly. Let me get down in there. And now I'm just tapping my left and right bracket key, left to bring that circle down, the brush circle, and right to bring it up. And now I think I can really bring it up, and we can just swipe away all the rest of this that we don't want to change. We're going to hide it when we make the change. We only want it in those 3 flowers. Okay, so before we move forward, what I want to do is I want to save this mask because I don't want to necessarily want to recreate it for the second part of what I show you. So when you get down into this black background area, these 3 rows of icons, if you come right here, it says Save, Output, Save Mask. And when I click on that, it says Channel Options. Well, I'm going to name this. So I'm just going to put 3 flowers. You can name it whatever you want. When I click OK, excuse me, you can see that it's been added to the bottom of my channels palette. And if I click out of here, more importantly, this my channels button, when I click there, you're going to see that it's been added up there. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to go up to that my channels button, click on the 3 flowers, and all of this opens up. And what I want to do is I have a black background, so I want to paint through with a white brush. And when I do, and I come over, you can see I'm now painting this purple color right here, okay? And I'm going to come up here. And the mask, I don't have to be precise with the brush because the mask is protecting me. By the way, if you go up here, you're going to see my opacity is 100, flows 100. Easiest way to get to 100 is tap your 0 key. You can get to really any percentage you want. If you tapped 8, 80%, 4, 40%, so on. But to get to 100, you want to tap the 0 key. Okay, so we got it going now, but it's looking a little reddish to my eyes. These are more purplish. So not to fear, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a hue saturation layer. And before we move any further, if I click the Alt Option key, you see it picks up my mask, okay? So let's see if we can just up the saturation on that a little. It's still a little too red. So let's go off the green, and now we're pulling it back more into purple. I could even play here with the brightness if I wanted to. And that's pretty good. This flower looks a little red to my eye. So you just kind of play with it. Okay? Now, another way we can do this, and this is kind of cool, is we can come up here to the color grading tool. We have to always click the plus button to start. And we're going to, this time it didn't pick up the mask, but don't worry, just hold the Alt or Option key and push up. And that's how you get your mask attached. And what I'm going to do is start with the midtones, and I'm going to pull that a little more into purple, maybe a little more into blue. And now you can see it's starting to take more it's looking more purplish. Okay, so it's not perfect. This is just something I wanted to show you. This is one way. So what we're going to do, let's highlight all three of these. Come up here to this icon of a folder and click on the right side where it's white. So that will show it all. And then we're just going to turn that layer off. And so we're back to the original picture. Now, let's come over to the second way of doing this, and then we'll compare the two. Let's go down all the way to the bottom here under color to color clone. Okay, same thing. Excuse me. I picked up a little bit of a cold along the way. I'm going to want to pick or select a little bit into the purple area, and I'll move that over and I'll click OK. And if I was to start painting, you would see it would spill outside the lines, but we saved our mask, right? So we can come up here under the mask and click on it. And once again, we can take this white brush with the black background, and I have to make sure I've selected the checkerboard there, and we can start painting in the color. Same thing, 100% opacity, 100% flow. And I'm going to check this mask just to make sure it picked it up. Okay, let's come back here. And it's not really painting in too well on that. This one's painting in really good. And let's see if we can figure out what's going on here. For some reason, it did not pick up the second part of the mask that I wanted it to pick up. Let's try coming over here. There we go. I'm clicking on the mask for that part. Now let's turn, let's option click. Option click. Now let's turn this off, and we'll come over here and we'll turn on the first one. You know, and because I'm in a group, I can always take, let me highlight the group. I can always take the opacity level down. And maybe, yeah, I think maybe we were just too much opacity. Let's turn that off and come back over here. Okay, so either way, neither way is 100% perfect. We could even, I have blended the two together before, but those are two ways that, and you can keep going back and retweaking these. This is why I saved it in the group. Oops. You can, let me turn the group back on and the single layer off. There's, when I click on this drop down arrow, there's all of our different ways from color grading to hue saturation that we've tried to modify the color. So you just have to get it kind of close. It doesn't have to be perfect. Then what I would do is go and flatten this layer and process it globally as a global layer. So that's how you do it. You are going to need the panel like the TK panel. I know there are other panels out there. I really can't speak to them. I know TK's just very, very complete. I hear from other photographers who have used other panels, and sometimes you can't do real intricate stuff like this. But if you can, leave a comment in the comment below. Love to hear from you. And hope this little tutorial has helped you out, get you thinking about where we can modify color sometimes when nature's not responding as perfectly as we would like it to. And anyway, until next month, we're going to be gone to Big Sur Coast, the spring Big Sur Coast. I live on the south end. We're going up to the north end. And people ask me, are we going to do a workshop on the south end? I just may. Right now, the road's closed off because of a slide from our big storms in early January, but they're every day getting more and more parts of the road open. And then from there, we go over to the beautiful Lofoten Islands in Norway, and let us know. We leave in 3 weeks. If you are interested last minute, we can get you in. Okay, so until next time, this is Don Smith. Get out with your camera, get going, have a lot of fun, you guys. Take care.